Hey everyone. All right, I am live, so I'm gonna give a second um, for Facebook to let everyone know that I'm live. If you are watching the replay of this, be sure to pop the word replay down in the comments for me, so that I know who's watching by a replay and who watches it live. Okay, I'm going to make sure I was on the page. Hi Adriana. I swear I put a different accent on your name every time. Hello, everyone joining. I am Morgan, owner of Ink Goddess Creations. I am here every Friday at 3 p.m. Pacific time to talk about witchy, magical stuff. And this topic this week, I'm always excited to come and talk with you all. And sometimes the topics I know weeks in advance, and sometimes the topics just kind of hit me. And this was one, my assistant called it downloading. I downloaded it and then like ran with it this morning, and I was like, okay, this is like the message that needs to be given out. So I hope that it resonates with you all. I want to make sure. I want to be able to keep up with comments too. Hi, Tiffany, Christy, Maria. Yay! So today's topic is the magic and power of words. And I've got goosebumps. I can't wait to share this with you all. Really, I really can't wait. Okay, so why am I talking the magic and power of words? All right. So words are magic. Your thoughts are words, are magic. So the first step of any type of spell, spell working, ritual, anything, is you have to turn your intentions into words, whether you're just going to think them or you're going to write them or you're going to actually say them out loud during a ritual. So the way that you word things, how you word things, all of that comes into play when you are performing magic and when you're setting intentions. So that's why this topic is so important, especially for those beginning, because there are a lot of frustrations, and I'll get to one of the major frustrations of why when you go to do a spell or a ritual, why your intention may not manifest, and I will get to that. It has so much to do with wording. So because this is the very first step in magic. The first step in magic is formulating your intention and either writing it, speaking it, thinking it, all of that. This is, and words themselves have so much power. Metaphysically, magically, emotionally, psychologically, words are so powerful. So that's why this is probably one of the most important steps of magic. So today I'm going to go over 5 things to keep in mind when it comes to words and magic and how they relate. My mom's here. Hi, Mom. And I'm just going to say, my sister had a baby today. I'm like over here, proud auntie, beaming. So it's my second niece. I only have the one sister. So my mom's here, and I know she's probably beaming right now too. It's been a great day. It's a great day. So I'm just like I love it. So yeah, great day. All right, so we're gonna jump right into number one. Number one is just kind of like a magical tidbit. Communication is linked to the throat chakra. So if you're really researching, all the chakras, your throat chakra is the hub of communication, and that's whether you're speaking it or not actually speaking it. So the throat chakra has to do with or resonates with the color blue. So if you want to do like gemstones, candles, things like that, sodalite, lapis, blue quartz, etc. So any kind of blue stones are going to help with communication. Wearing the color blue help if you want clear communication. So if you have a speech or something to make, or you're doing a Facebook Live and you really want to make sure that your point comes across, infusing blues as much as possible can definitely help that and help open that throat chakra. Communication is also resonates with the element of air. So anything like incense, your breath, breathing, feathers also have to do with the element of air. So you can hold a feather. Feather jewelry also works. I wanted a boost today. I wanted a boost to make sure. Thank you, Adriana. She's in beautiful earrings. They're my feather earrings because I was doing this about communication, and I said I got to make sure that everything comes out smoothly, and that all the points I'm making come across. So if you ever need to communicate with people, like let's say call a family meeting or something, lighting a blue candle in the room will definitely help everyone communicate effectively and clearly with one another. If you are writing stuff, like if you want to write in your book of shadows or write a certain spell for communication, or get something out, get that spell or that point across using blue ink. And I wanted to show y'all, I do notes, and you see it's all blue. I have some other colors thrown in there for other emphasis, energetically speaking, that I wanted to make as I was writing everything out. But yes, so blue is the color for the throat chakra, and then feathers, incense, your breath, anything like that that resonates with air can also help with communication. So this is going to apply whether you're writing, whether you're speaking your words, whether you're even just thinking them, just having kind of that all of these things can help energetically boost your intention. So that's the first one. For those of you just joining, because I'm seeing some comments, things like that. We're going over 5 things. That was the first one, was just about communication. We're going over 5 things today that to keep in mind when it comes to words and magic. Because words are so powerful. So the second thing, and this is probably the biggest reason why you may not see your intention or your spell manifest. And that is the universe only works in positives. And you should too. But that's just me being, a light worker, always positive. So okay, for example, I'm going to skip down to the example and then work my way back up. The universe only works in positives. So words like no, not, never are taken out of the equation as the universe is attempting to translate, take in what you're saying, and help you push out that correct energy, okay? So you have to remove those words. You have to remove negative words. No, not, never are 3 really common ones. So for example, saying, I don't want anxiety becomes, I do want anxiety. Because as you're speaking it and your intention is kind of going out, the universe is going to remove the word not, because the universe only works in positives. The universe wants things in balance and order as much as possible. So that's why they, generally speaking, everything they try to kind of write everything and make everything positive to balance out. So if you phrase it, if you are trying to do some self-work, things like that, and you come out and you say, I don't want anxiety, and that's what you're writing down, what ends up happening? In return, you end up getting more anxiety. And it's kind of, there's a law of attraction thing, and I want to say, yeah, we're going to get there. So a lot of people think that they are being positive in the way that they are phrasing things, but they've kept those words in there. They've kept the word not, no, or never. And then once that goes out, the universe removes it and leaves you with this what exactly the opposite of what you wanted. And sometimes that's kind of what you end up getting back. This is something that I really, really affected me, or I really dove into when I was dealing with anxiety, really bad anxiety, a couple of years ago. And so I was kind of experimenting, trying different things, and that was when I realized that trying to remove those negative words from your phrases can help rewire your brain. So it rewires your brain to a more positive state. Yeah, okay. Wanted to make sure I can make it onto the next page before flipping. So about 3 or 4 years ago, my anxiety was so bad, it was very hard for me to even leave the house. If we were going somewhere I had never been before, I definitely had panic attacks. If we were going to places that I had been before, I would just have kind of minor panic attacks. But for whatever reason, the crossover, like my arch nemesis was movie theaters. We could go to the same movie theater, but for whatever reason, I think it was the whole thing of kind of like being stuck for 2 to 3 hours. I always had panic attacks. And so I would be getting ready because I wasn't going to stop living my life. And we're a huge DC family. And it just so happened one year that there was like 2 or 3 DC movies that came out. So we were going to go, and I wasn't going to hold my family back and hold myself back from living. So while I'm doing my makeup and I'm doing everything, I was repeating over and over and over again, I will not have a panic attack. I will not have a panic attack. I will not have a panic attack. And in my mind, I'm thinking, I'm being positive. I'm putting out that positive energy that I will be fine. I will not have a panic attack. So it was like 100%. I would get to the movie theater and get in the seat, and then I'd have to run to the bathroom and have a panic attack. Like 100%. So I started rewording because I couldn't understand. I kind of had unlocked this information from the back of my head that I had picked up sometime in the last 20 years about the universe only works in positives. And so I started rephrasing. I am going to the movies to enjoy time with my family, and I will remain grounded, safe, stable, healthy, and anxiety free. And that was the big thing. I switched it from I'm not going to have a panic attack to I am going to be anxiety free. And that phrase was so specific, and that was what I would tell myself, that it leaves no room for interpretation. The energy is clear, concise, and will flow freely in that direction. So I fully believe that what that does is it rewires your brain to focus on the positive instead of the negative. So when I kept saying, I don't want a panic attack, I don't want a panic attack, it's not the subject of the sentence, like grammatically speaking, but the focus of that sentence is panic attack. And so that's what your brain hears. That's what your body picks up on. That's what the universe says. Oh, she keeps saying panic attack. She must want one. Here, have one. So reword and rephrase to only focus on the positives. So I would focus on words like safe, stable, healthy. Healthy was a big one for me. Anxiety free, because I felt that free, attached to it, turned it into a more positive thing, So that's what you're trying to do. And not only does it help you rewire, as far as like rewire your brain to focus on positive and to have those positive intentions, but it's going to positively open up the energy to flow the way that you want it to flow. There's not going to be any lost in translation. There's not going to be any room for interpretation as far as the universe is concerned. You're putting your intentions out there as clearly as possible. I know what there is a saying. I don't know if you've heard it or not. It's where your focus goes, energy flows, or where your attention goes, energy flows. It's actually Tony Robbins is credited with saying that. He's a coach, a speaker, a motivational, if you don't know who Tony Robbins is. But that is 100%. And I know, what was it, like 10 years ago, the big thing was The Secret. And that was about, visualizing the positive energy and everything, and that would make things happen. It's all the same kind of concept. So what you're focusing on is what you're going to manifest. And that's why when you are writing things, thinking things, that's why it's so important to really look at how you are wording it. Doesn't it always seem like, for example, people who are always complaining about money problems, or if something happens and you end up with money problems, then you worry. And you worry, like, am I always going to have money problems? Is this going to be the way it's always going to be? And you worry and you worry and worry about money problems. And so what you're handed back are more money problems and worry. Because that's what you're focusing on. You're not focusing on money solutions, you're focusing on money problems. So for me personally, I was focusing on the panic attack itself instead of what I needed to do to not have the panic attack. I wasn't focusing on remaining healthy, remaining stable, remaining grounded. I was focusing on the panic attack. These are some great, I'm seeing over here, I am calm and relaxed. I can deal with my anxiety. Those are all really great. And we'll get to the positive and actionable phrasing here in a couple minutes. Dora says, say the it's Tony Robbins thing again. Where your focus goes, energy flows. Or there was another one, it said, where your attention goes, energy flows. So I'm not quite sure what the exact quote was. But it is so true. So if you are always focusing on negative things, that tends to be what you attract. If you're always focusing on worrying, or if you're focusing on your anxiety, then that's kind of what is going to happen in return. So to kind of sum up this one about the universe only works in positives, rewording to be more positive, remove the words no, never, and not. And so if you reword your intentions and spells to be positive, it not only clears up the energy flow, but it rewires your brain to focus on the positive intention instead of the negative outcome. So that's what you're always wanting to do. Create as much positive energy, send as much positive energy out there for your intentions, so that's what you're getting back. Because I don't think there's a single person in the world that wants to sit around and send out worry and pain and everything and be like, that's what I want to get back in return. Because that's nobody. Everybody wants more positive. And you want to make changes in your life. You want to make positive changes, and you want your dreams to come true and all of that. So the path to that is definitely, positive energy flow, clear communication with yourself, the universe, so that's what comes back to you. Kim says, when I'm really stressed, it's kind of hard for me to lie to myself that I'm not stressed. I totally believe in what you're saying. It's just hard for me. Oh, you don't ever lie to yourself. You honor that. That's one thing you always do. I tell my husband all the time, if I'm getting ready to cry and he's like, no, don't cry. If I'm really stressed or really pissed or whatever. And I'm like, no, you don't understand. I need to cry. I need to get this out. I need to honor these feelings. You definitely honor your feelings, but you make the conscious decision to honor and then move forward, releasing that negativity, that negative emotion, but you honor it. And there's times I'll be like, I'm pissed right now, and you're gonna have to let me stay pissed for a moment, because I'm gonna honor this, because this is how I feel, and I'm not pushing that off. I am pissed right now. Just give me a couple minutes. And then that's when you can start. Don't ever lie. Honor the negativity, honor those emotions, honor it, because it's what you're feeling, and you don't want to push that aside. So honor it, but then make the conscious decision to say, okay, I'm pissed right now, but I'm not going to let that affect me anymore. or I'm going to move forward, and this is what I'm going to say to myself, or this is how I want to start rewiring. So I hope that helps. All right, so number 3 is write actionable statements when you're setting your intentions, your spells, etc. So which of these is more powerful and motivating? I want to lose 10 pounds, or I will lose 10 pounds through clean eating, exercising 3 times a week, and cutting out soda. The second one is a clear path of energy. The first one is like a wish. It's kind of like you're wishing on a star, and then you're planning on just wishing and then not doing a damn thing about it. And that's another thing about magic, is you send your intentions out, you build your energy, you send your energy out with that intention. You still gotta take some human steps to achieve your goals. So if you want to put, for example, just using this example, if you want to put your energy and spell maybe during the new moon to set an intention to become more healthy, it's one thing to be like, I want to lose 10 pounds. It's going to be another thing to say, okay, I will lose 10 pounds, and this is how I'm going to do it. So you definitely want to write your intentions, your spells. You want to write them as actions and not just as empty wishes. Because if you have empty wishes, psychologically, you're not going to do anything to like follow that up. And magically, it is equivalent to like wishing on a star, but with no plan of action behind it. It's like you send it out, and it's kind of like a firecracker. You send that out, and it's going to be pretty for a second, and then it's going to go away. So you definitely, with magic, you want to clear that energy pathway so the energy can continue to flow, and you're not just going to pop and fizzle. So another thing that you can do if you are setting an intention that's maybe not so specific, you can phrase it, I am open to. So this works really well for, in my opinion, it's one of the only ways to perform a love spell. I don't personally agree with performing love spells on other people, because there's free will involved and things like that. But if you perform a love spell on yourself with the intention of, I am open to receiving someone in my life who will love me, and this will be a positive relationship. But you saying, I am open to, opens up that gateway for the energy to flow, so that you're not putting, if it's not something you want to attain, but something that you are open to having that energy flow to you, that is an actionable phrase as well. It works that works really well for love, and it also works for money spells, kind of. If you are, like, let's say you want a new job, you do not know what the new job is at the moment, but you want something, so you're kind of like, I am open to a job that will fulfill me, will use my set of skills, will make me happy, will more than pay for my bills and allow me to, have a nest egg. I am open to this job, becoming part of my life and me finding this job. You still have to go and submit applications. You have to go look for a job. It's going to be very rare that a job is just going to be plopped in front of you if if that's kind of the energy that you put out there, but then you take no actionable steps after that. So the purpose of magic is for energy to flow towards your intention. That is the purpose of magic. Magic is sending out energy or using energy to perform a desired outcome or to have a desired outcome. So if you are not clearing up the path for that energy to flow, that energy is going to hit roadblock after roadblock after roadblock. So definitely when you're writing intentions, spells, use actionable phrases. So think of I am statements, I will statements, and then follow them up if it's something, I will, like I said earlier, I will lose 10 pounds and this is how I will do it. I am open to the positive, loving energy of the universe, however it would like to manifest in my life. These are actionable. These are open. These open up your energy pathways. So yeah, that was number 3. Number 4 came to me later, so I had to flip a page. I get asked this so much. This is a fun one. To rhyme or not to rhyme? That is the question. I love it. So you do whatever makes you happy. There is no right or I have met witches who rhyme in their spells. I have met witches who don't say anything out loud at all, ever. I loved the original Charmed. I have not seen the new one, sorry to say, because my heart is with the original Halliwell sisters. They rhymed. I loved it. I have been known to rhyme. I have written things as well or said things out loud that were not rhyming. For me, though, it was like a memory thing. Like if I can make it rhyme, I can remember it. And then when I need to say it during my ritual, I won't forget it. I also, personally, I took 4 years of Latin. So I have done spells in Latin. Nerdy thing to do. I do not recommend doing stuff like that unless you have a prior knowledge or relationship with a certain language. Just because a lot of things Google Translate is not 100% accurate. And you want to make sure you're clearing that pathway and not jumbling it up with like a mispronunciation or a grammatical error. You don't want your intention to be lost in translation. So with that being said, and this is a fun thing. So a couple of weeks ago, my Facebook Live was on Visionary Magic, and I had talked very briefly about, for an example of if you wanted a new job in France, or you wanted to visit France. If you know French and you want to do your spell in French, by all means, that is flipping amazing, and you should definitely do that because that's going to add that extra energy to it. But the key, basically, do whatever somebody, I just want to say, it isn't as cool. Okay, so I always kind of fail because I want to rhyme and say good saying stuff. It just isn't as cool. Amber said that. That's the thing. Like when I rhyme, sometimes it comes out like Mother Goose. I mean, it is the cheesiest stuff that comes out, and you're stretching words, or you're mispronouncing words so that it'll make sense. And you know what? If it makes you giggle, that's going to add an extra boost of energy. So go with it. If you want to rhyme and it is cheesy as hell, do it if that's what makes you happy. If rhyming makes you, like, at the minute that rhyming stuff comes out, you're like, oh, don't do it. So there is no right or wrong. It really is what resonates with you. There's a rhyming spell is not going to be less powerful than a non-rhyming spell, or vice versa. It really isn't. And if you want to write your spells in Latin, but you've never had anything to do with Latin, I don't recommend it. If you want to give it a try or teach yourself Latin, go for it. But I definitely just do what resonates with you and what makes you happy. But I get asked that all the time. Do I rhyme or not rhyme? And I'm like, yes, both. Neither. I have even made up words before in spells because what? My husband said I still do. I make up words all the time because if there's not a word that correctly conveys what I'm trying to say or the energy that I'm trying to put out there, I'll make up a word. I won't hesitate to make up a word and I'll write it down, and that'll be my power word or something. I've done it before. I'll do it again. um, so yeah, so we're on the last part, which is, and this one's gonna get me a little emotional, y'all. So thoughts are words too. And this one, especially women. If you're watching, you're gonna hear this one. This one's gonna hit you. Okay. You need to rewire how you speak to yourself. Okay, your brain does not interpret things the minute that those thoughts come, or the minute that you say out loud something negative about yourself. Your energy, metaphysically, spiritually, they don't know the difference. They, even if you're trying to joke, but it's not a joke, it's coming out really cruel. That gives you so much power, or takes away your power, and we'll get to that. So for me, and this is me kind of I love using examples to try and, convey things, because I think it does help people really understand what I'm trying to say. So during the quarantine and in life for the last few years, I gained a little bit of extra poundage. Okay, I'm actually at a place in my life I'm very happy. So when you're happy, you eat. That's why, like, when you get married or you go off to college and you're all happy and you're free, they call it like the freshman 15, or the honeymoon 10, 20. I don't even know. I think it was like 20 for me. So, am I happy? I'm not 100% absolutely, fine with the little bit of extra weight that I've gained. But when I stand in front of the mirror, I am very gentle with myself. Okay. So I used to not be. And that's where we really have to rewire. Because the minute that those thoughts pop into your head, it will shift your energy almost immediately. And so the more negative things you say about yourself or to yourself, the more your energy will shift. So I try, and at first, like I said, I will honor. So I will look in the mirror, like after getting out of the shower, and I'll be like, oh, all right. And then I make the conscious decision to rewire myself. So for me, it's something along the lines of, I am working on losing this extra weight so I can be healthier and feel more like me in my own skin. Because that's the biggest thing for me, is sometimes when you go through a change, you don't feel like yourself, and so that's for me. I want to feel comfortable in my own skin. And I want to be healthier. That's the big thing for me right now, is really being healthy. How can I be the healthiest version of myself? And that is mentally, physically, spiritually. It's all about being healthy. So I focus on saying I'm a work in progress. That's what I say. I'm a work in progress. I will add a joke, but it is a positive joke that makes me laugh and makes me exhale and really breathe out that negativity. And I tell people, yeah, I've got the body of a goddess. It's just a Renaissance goddess. And if you know what I'm talking about, we're talking, oh, I saw the meme. I don't know if it's floating around yours, but it says, after seeing I always used to see the pictures of the women in Renaissance paintings who lived through a plague, and they were, they're chubby and they have like a boob hanging out or something. And like, now I completely understand that. That's the Renaissance paintings I'm talking about. So, that's what I tell myself is I have the body of a goddess. It's just a Renaissance one right now, a Renaissance goddess. And, I would have made Michelangelo super happy to be one of his studies back in the day. So I will tell myself a joke, make it a little bit more lighthearted, really shift my energy to a positive. Um, so women, we say the worst things to ourselves. We really do. Um, and it's stuff that we would never even say to another human being. Like you would never. I mean, I have had friends that would look at me and be like, "Girl, you done put on a few pounds," and that's complete honesty. It is, but there's a difference between saying, "Girl, you put on a few pounds," and completely berating yourself because of it. So you definitely want to rewire and be kinder to yourself, because even thoughts, and if the thought pops into your head, if the negative thought pops into your head, honor it and then say, you know what, I hear you. I understand that that's coming from a place because I'm not happy with this situation right now, but I'm going to get through this, or I'm going to overcome this. I am going to get to a more positive place. So why should you do this? And this is probably might blow your mind. So your personal power center is your solar plexus chakra. I was getting ready to say sacral. That is not right. Your solar plexus chakra, okay, sits. So if you're starting kind of at the base of your spine, that's your root, and then you've got your sacral chakra, and then your solar plexus is right up under that. So you're looking. I'm going to stand up for a second. You're looking right about here, and then it's going to move up to your heart, your throat, your third eye. So that solar plexus is your personal power. It's usually yellow. So eating yellow things all of that helps with it. So banana, squash, things like that. But I digress. This is your personal power center. When your personal power center is out of whack, okay, when you've clouded it, when things are not going great for you and your personal power, it can lead to digestive issues, eating disorders, depression and anxiety, addiction, ulcers, diabetes, and nerve pain and fibromyalgia. So, the more that you take your own power away from yourself with negative statements, the more it gets your solar plexus chakra out of whack, out of alignment, the more it clouds it. And then you're going to physically start seeing these things manifest in your life. You're going to see the digestive issues. You're going to see depression, anxiety, addiction. You're going to see all of this stuff. So the first step to that is taking back your personal power. And you don't want to be the person that's taking away your, like, that's self-defeating, to sit there and berate yourself and talk bad to yourself and take away your own personal power. Like that's crazy. So you've got to rewire yourself. I can't read all of what Shannon's saying. Shannon has I'm gorgeous. I'm okay with me. See, that's the important thing, Shannon. She has a very long. So if you're watching and you're reading comments as well, if you are happy, girl, if you are happy with you, then that's all that matters. I mean, honestly, that really is what matters. So, and I will say this too. I always talk about Instagram. Instagram is like my social media avenue for the shop, so I'm always on Instagram. And there are absolutely beautiful women of all shapes and sizes. I follow so many body positive women, and they are flipping gorgeous. And it doesn't matter what size they are. So I am all like that confidence. Confidence is beautiful. And that confidence comes right there from your solar plexus chakra. So you have, you're good, Shannon. That was beautiful what you were saying. So yeah, that confidence comes directly out of there. So they have no problem. These absolutely beautiful body positive women, and men, they have their solar plexus chakra is clear. It's aligned. It is beaming yellow light everywhere. It is beautiful. But and I'm sure that they probably talk to themselves in very amazing ways. And I love it. I love it. That's taking back your power, and it's putting your power in your own hands, and using that to make change in your life. And that's what I'm all about here. Like that is all, acceptance and love and positivity, and you having the power to do that yourself and for your life. So that is why it is so important to keep your personal power and to nurture your personal power, because it can manifest physically in negative ways. So this was the part today I was like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to share this. No one is perfect. No one. Okay? So when you speak to yourself, there are only two ways to do that. There are only two ways to speak to yourself. One is love and acceptance for your flaws. You love yourself, you accept your flaws. That is the first way. Number two is in a positive, actionable way to make change. If you are not happy, then you can state that in a positive, actionable way that's going to create change. Because if you're not happy, you can either accept it or you can do something about it and you can change it. And by changing it, that's going to be those positive, actionable steps. So those are the only two ways you need to talk to yourself ever. Honestly, if you find yourself, heading over to the negative and really, starting to berate yourself, starting to talk down to yourself, call yourself negative things, that's what needs to shift. You have got to either talk to yourself through love and acceptance, or you've got to talk to yourself through positive, actionable steps that you're going to take to change the things that you aren't happy about. That's it. So you have to pause, acknowledge and honor the negative. Okay, I am not happy with this. And you can get angry about it too. I am not happy with this right now. But I am still a person, and I am going to take these steps to change this for the positive. So, and I'm seeing a lot of comments. I'm trying to kind of keep an eye on it. Carrie says, I miss that voice. I miss you too. No, Carrie, for since my kid was in a crib, my youngest, he's 15 now. So those are that is the most, you don't take anything else away from this live today. I would love, especially women, and I'm not saying that men don't have the issues that women do with talking bad about ourselves, but women seem to really take it on and really internalize it and really amp it up, and it's crazy. But if there's nothing else you take away, it is that from this point forward, only talk to yourself in two ways, and that is love and acceptance, or in positive, actionable steps to create change for stuff you're not happy about. So, love you too, Carrie. So kind of to also, this goes along with the self-talk, but it goes a little bit further than that. And this is where I got called Mama Morgan a long time before I ever had kids, in high school. And then again, when I worked at one of the tattoo shops, I got called Mama Morgan, and that's because stuff like what's I'm about to say comes out of my mouth all the time. If you speak to others worse than you speak to yourself, you need to keep all these steps in mind too, especially online. There's a lot of shit that happens online nowadays, because people think that they can hide behind anonymity. I have such a hard problem with that word, anonymity. So this world is full of negative stuff. And if you are hiding behind anonymity and attacking other people online, or you're treating other people face to face worse than you would ever treat anybody else, then you are just focusing on the negative, and that's all you're going to get back in return is negative. You may think, well, I'm going to say this to this person, or they're not going to know it's me because I'm hiding behind a Twitter handle. And that's bullshit, because you're just putting that negative energy out there and you're going to get it back. It also affects your energy regardless of whether or not you actually want to admit it. But if you're like, I'm hiding over here, they don't know who I am, so I'm going to tell them exactly how I feel, you're putting that out, it's going to come back. It's going to come back to you, and you're focusing on the negative. Whether you think you're focusing on someone else's negative, you're still focusing on the negative. And so therefore, the more you focus on the negative, the more it's going to come back to you. And that's, I mean, I know that, Wicca has the law of 3. I've heard of the law of 10, tenfold law before. That's just common decency, to be honest. So I didn't really think about, or when I was going over this, I really wanted to do the negative self-talk. But then I realized there are people out there that treat other people like crap for whatever reason, and it's usually because of something inside themselves that they really don't want to deal with. So they project onto other people. And if that's the case, if you are, especially online or even in real life, if you're sitting there, treating other people absolutely horribly and saying mean things all the time and everything, you have to understand that you're just adding to the negative, and that's just going to come back to you. So, yeah, that's my Mama Morgan time. That's my mom. That's it for Mama Morgan. Oh, hey, we're done, because that's number 4 on the next page that I added. So, yay! I'm so glad. I'm kind of seeing, and let me just see if I can scroll back. Yeah. It's hard. I know it is. Somebody said keyboard warriors. I know it's hard, especially if someone really gets you fired up, amped up. And you have to, like, a lot of times, my kids will be like, aren't you going to say something back? That person's saying something. Aren't you going to say something back? And I'm like, no, it's not, like, I'm not going to change their mind. And so it doesn't matter if I, come back and you're not going to change their mind. So I'm like, I'm just going to release myself and kind of, cleanse myself of this situation and move on. So that's, yeah. All right. I'm really glad. Okay, I'm seeing that you all are, yay. Okay, resonating, good stuff, yay. So yeah, I hope you all enjoyed this today. This is why, in this, like I said before, all of this, the power of words, the magic of words, it applies to any way of communication. So it's going to be your thoughts, your self-talk. It's going to be writing spells or your intentions. It's going to be speaking them out loud. Does everyone else? I don't know. I'm a talker. Y'all can tell that. But I even talk to myself when I'm doing spells. Like, I have to say things out loud. So I can write it down and kind of keep a record of, like in my Book of Shadows or something. But when I'm actually performing a spell, I talk to myself all the time. So even if you're saying it out loud, thinking it, writing it, all of these ways are communication. And so the magic and the power of words apply to all of them. So definitely, work in positives. Try and rewire yourself, rewire your thinking, rewire the way you talk to yourself, the way you talk to other people, and the way that you phrase your intentions and your spells. Rewire them for positive, to focus on the positive. If you want to rhyme, do it. If you don't want to rhyme, don't do it. If you want to speak out loud, speak out loud. If you don't want to speak out loud, keep it to yourself. It is all what feels good for you. And then watch your thoughts. Watch your thoughts too, which is another, like, as you're kind of getting things out and really pulling things together, you've got to make sure that your mind, your body, your soul are all on the same page when you're trying to manifest. So if you even have that little inkling of doubt in your mind, that's going to add a negative spin to your spell or your ritual. So Doris says Renaissance 2020. Yes, that's what we're all going to end up. We're Renaissance 2020. That is what's happening right now. I love it. Y'all make me laugh so much. You end my week on Friday evenings. So great. I always go home and I'm in such a good mood. I love doing this and I love interacting with you all. I know it's just through comments, and it makes me very happy to see, you know, when you all resonate and when you communicate with each other and you talk with one another too. It just makes me so happy. So that's it. That's what I have for today. So I always like to go over at the end, if you are part of our group, our little customer group, we are like a family over there. It is attached to the Facebook page. So somewhere, I don't know if you're mobile or if you're on a computer, you'll see groups that are attached to this page. You do have to be a customer of ours. So there are 3 questions that you will have to answer, and we will verify whether or not you are a customer. If you are a customer, you're in. It is completely free to join the group. We have great conversation over there. We laugh a lot. We really pick one another up. And then once a week, we have sacred space. And then there's also a text messaging system set up through there as well for positive things that I like to send out to you all. So if you are a part of the group, and I see quite a few people who are a part of the group, and I love seeing you here too. This is awesome because I saw most of y'all last night in the sacred space too, and it makes me smile so much. But if you are not part of the group, and you are a customer of ours, I highly recommend it. We're like a family over there. And like I said, it is completely free to join the group. So until next week, I have no idea what the topic will be. It'll be fun. But I thank you all very much for coming today. And if you're watching on the replay, thank you for, watching. If you ever have any questions or other comments, I do keep up with the thread even after the live is done and we're just on replay. So, and Tiffany says, are you going to continue this and sacred space after the pandemic is over? Yes, I do intend. This has been great. And Bethany says overwhere. There is a group, I think it's called, I want to say it's like IGC VIP members or something like that, but there's only one group associated with this page. So while you're looking at the Facebook page, you'll find the group associated with it. And that's if you're one of our customers. Yep, that's our customer group. So yes, thank you all, and have an amazing weekend, and I will hopefully see you all next week. Thank you for joining me. Bye.